If you're just in for the results, here's the results. To max out your track performance like play counts and listeners, avoid these genres and also stick to these genres and make sure there's more than one of these mixed in every of your songs. Bye-bye to y'all who are just looking for the results, and hello there to everybody who's in for the process. You're in for a nerdy treat, and I hope you find some useful statistical tools for your own research and also have fun along the way. Let's go! Through this series we have reviewed every other parameter. It's time to dive into genres. We're gonna list all the genres, we're gonna update them with K-pop because we added it last time. We'll also recalculate the multiple genres column and then filter the data to have only those lines that have the actual genre data associated with them. There's the column names listed. That's way too many columns. By the way, I'm Vadusha and I'm the best expert in programming, data science and music in the entire world, and maybe even on YouTube. And for those of you who forgot what genres were, we pulled user-generated tags from the system. Some of the tags contain genre-specific information, so we analyzed that and we'll dive deeper in that later on. But we pulled it from user-generated information, so these genres should be pretty accurate. We cut the excessive columns, that's what we're left with. You can see there's genres listed up on top, and if the track belongs to a specific genre, it has a 1 in the column. If not, it has a 0. Weekend is not extreme. If a track has several genres associated with it, it has a count of multiple genres. So if it's a 1, it's just a single purified genre. If it's more than one, it's like pop rock or indie pop or something. This whole data we got from Last.fm's API, the application programming interface. We pulled the data from there, got it in our notebook, and that's like the 4th or the 5th video in the playlist. So make sure you watch the entire playlist if you want to see the details. The link is in the description. Let's see the actual list of genres we generated. That's the way it works. We have these and we classified them all as blues. We have these and we thought they were all classical. Country is country. Anything hip-hop related became hip-hop. There's a bunch of genres, metal being pretty prolific, rock being very verbose in terms of tags, electronic, many punk subgenres. Extreme genres are not just extreme metal genres. They're 8-bit, for example, or grime. So anything that's way too underground for a genre went extreme. So let's see how frequent the genres are. Get a dictionary to count the genres and we'll count how many 1s or 0s each column got. There you go. Rock is the most popular among publishers. The majority of the tracks we have in our database are rock, and it's like twice as many as the next one. Pop is around 30,000, indie is 20k, and it goes descending. The red line is the median track count. So we have over 50,000 tracks that are classified as rock. You got the idea. I would really expect pop to be on top. How about we see the multiple genre parameter? How many tracks are just one purified genre? How many have 2 genres? How many have 3, 4, 5, and so on? Let's see that. A single genre track is the most common way to do it. 2 genres per track and 3 genres even, and 4 are pretty common still. 5, 6, 7 and more are rare. That's not beyond what we could have expected. A very predictable picture. How about we take out the single genre tracks and see what genres are the most popular in combinations? So what are the most combined genres? Filter the data set with multiple genres over 1, so more than 1 genre per track. Do the same maths and see how many tracks we have. Still rock is popular. Nothing really changed, the very same picture. The red line is the median. Anything above the red line is above the median. And below is below. Pretty straightforward. Rock is still the top. I would guess that these more generic genres go first because they're easier to combine with. It's very hard to find like a folk, progressive, funk, hip-hop, but pretty easy to find a pop rock or an indie rock or indie pop something. The more generic, the further out to the left. The more specific and rarely found, the farther out to the right. Or at least so it seems. Enough with descriptive statistics. Let's explore the performance metrics, of which we have 2. Play counts and listeners. Play counts is how many times a track has been played. Listener count is how many unique listeners listen to a specific track. The more listeners a track has, the higher the play count usually. But sometimes people listen to a track more than once. That's why play counts are always higher than the listener counts. But listener counts precede play counts. Because if your track has, say, 50 listeners, this means your track has been played at least 50 times, at least once by each and every one of them. So listeners go first, play counts go second, but you get paid for play counts, how many times your track has been played. So let's review the play count as the most important metric and see if genres are different in terms of play counts. If composing a track in a specific genre increases the probability of your track getting higher play counts. Let's see if that's the case. Before we start, leave a comment making your own predictions. What is the musical genre that will help you succeed in music? What is the worst musical genre that'll fail you for sure? And as a bonus, what are the musical genres that are longest in track duration and the shortest in track duration? Make your predictions now, because if you don't, you're not going to be judging it fairly. To avoid being biased, make your predictions right away below in the comments. So we get the dictionary of medians, calculate medians for every genre, and bill it. The red line is the overall median, and I've explained the difference between the mean and the median many times in this series, so go ahead and watch the entire playlist with the link in the description. Anything above the median should be increasing your chances of success, and anything below the median should be decreasing it. And indie is an unexpected leader here. The thing we see here are the actual medians. I would add confidence interval to test the hypothesis if what we see is really the case, if this column is so high just by chance. Let's apply the confidence interval, so plus or minus how far away from the actual value we can be sure with a 95% confidence the value actually is. Let's see how those compare to the median, and we'll add a confidence interval to the median as well. And if they overlap, we can't say they're different. So we write a function that calculates the median for each genre, get a data set, sort the entire thing by the median so that we have the most popular on the left and the least popular on the right. Get the confidence intervals, and the confidence interval is generated from a different function we wrote a couple of videos ago. A confidence interval above the median and below the median. There's the overall median with the same logic. We also apply attributes, great performance, poor performance, and meh. Great being above the median, poor being below the median, and meh being the rest. Anything that's roughly equal to the median will be irrelevant. Then build the chart, draw the lines, and that's what we get. We're 95% sure that the overall play count median is between these red dashed lines. We're also 95% sure that the actual median for play counts for each individual bar is within these boundaries. So as long as these boundaries are outside this area, the area between the red lines, we're pretty sure that this value and this value are different. So we clearly see that these blue bars are above the median, while these green bars are below the median, and K-pop being very, very unstable with a lot of variability. I hope you made your predictions. See how your predictions compare to that. These genres favor your success. These detriment it. And these don't matter. Religious, pop, other, hip-hop, and reggae are irrelevant to a track's success. So if you want your track to get a higher play count and it to be statistically significant, make sure it's one of these genres. Let's put those in lists. That's the bad genre list, that's the good genre list. Keep it this way for further reference. That's some cherry picking and multiple comparisons going on again, and you know what this is if you watched the previous video. To reduce the bias a little bit, let's see if listener counts produces the same results. It's our second metric of success. The more listeners, the higher the success. The higher the play counts, actually. Building the same diagram for listeners, the confidence interval is narrower here. Anything that doesn't overlap that is different from those red lines. Kind of the same genres below and above, and the relevant genres are still kind of the same. Putting them in lists. Oh, one more thing. I got my TikTok up. And I mean, I do a lot of silly musical things there. So if you're into silly musical things, go check it out. Let's do one more thing. We have two lists. One is recommended genres by play count. Another one is recommended genres by listeners. Let's combine the two lists, excluding the elements that we don't see in both lists, keeping only those that are in both. And we also have the genres we don't recommend using. We have a list by track play count and track listeners. Let's combine these inclusively so that you know what to avoid in terms of both play count and listeners. So we're doing this. We have to convert them to sets to remove duplicates, and then back to lists to have actual lists and print them. There you go. These genres max out your chances of success. These genres hurt your play counts and listeners. How about we see if having more than one recommended genre favors your play count? So if you combine multiple recommended genres, is it better than having just one? Let's see that. This is the number of recommended genres. This is the level of success, listeners and play count. The higher up and to the right, the more successful a track is. The yellower the dot that, the higher the good genre count is. So far, not really obvious, but it does get lighter the higher and the more to the right it goes. So probably not as prominent as I would expect, but still pretty evident. But that's graphic analysis. How about we check that with hypothesis testing? This whole code is freely available in a Google Colab notebook that I got linked in the description. So go ahead, try it out for yourself, see if you come up with different results. Let's get our numeric columns, the play counts, the listeners, good genre count, bad genre count, and the number of genres overall, and see if there's any correlations. As the correlation matrix, the more saturated a color is, the higher the correlation. This is a positive correlation, this is a negative correlation. Anything above 0.5-ish is noticeable. These ones are irrelevant because that's track play count against track play count. Track listeners against track play counts shows high correlation because the more listeners, the higher the play count, because every one of those listeners has listened to a track at least once, ramping up the play counts. This correlation, great genre play count, multiple genres, of course. The more recommended genres, the bigger the number of overall genres. That's just maths. Nothing insightful yet. Poor genre count decreases your great genre count. That's fun. The correlation is not that strong, but the more recommended genres a song can be attributed to, the fewer poor genres it can be attributed to. That's fun. Kind of useless though. Right, let's test the hypothesis to see if having a single genre is more favorable for your track success than having multiple genres. And the answer is no for both play counts and listeners, for both medians and variances. Okay, how about we visualize it in a more readable way? So write another function, going into detail there. We're subgrouping the data, collecting the medians again, getting subgroup medians, plotting confidence intervals, getting the overall median with the confidence intervals to it, then reattributing the performance assessment to great, poor, and irrelevant, kind of doing the same thing as the last time, but now it's fewer subgroups. So having one genre per track is statistically significantly below the median. Anything above the median is actually having more genres per track. So multiple genres rocks. That's pretty straightforward, except for the number 6 here. So 6 genres is a bit too many genres, and the confidence interval is way too wide to be able to say something here. 6 genres is way too much. Don't go above 5 genres, but 2 to 5 is very good for you. Let's double check with track listeners. Same picture here, except for 6 genres is okay now. I would still keep away from the 6 genres thing. Right, 1 genre is bad, anything above that is good. Keep in mind that these genre counts apply to great genres only. Only the recommended genres. We didn't include the poor genres here. Only the recommended genres. So stick to these genres and make sure there's more than one of them. There's another parameter we have, and that's track duration. And I'm not sure if there's any useful information we can pull out of there, but it's still fun to know which genre makes the longest tracks and which makes the shortest. I would guess metal makes the longest tracks while punk rock makes the shortest, because punk tracks are usually short and aggressive, and metal tracks have those intros and solos and interludes and outros, so they tend to be longer. Let's check that. So our duration data is in milliseconds, so we convert them to seconds. Get rid of empty cells, and there you go. Hard to see actually. Let's zoom in a little bit, make the differences more dramatic, like this. Okay, progressive, of course. Why did I not think of progressive? That's the very obvious thing. Progressive tracks are the longest, while punk is the shortest. That's pretty clear, I guess that. Blues is pretty short, which is unexpected. I thought blues tracks would be longer. Country is short, that's weird. K-pop is short. Alright, funk is longer, jazz is longer, metal is still long though. It's not that I'm completely wrong, it's just that I'm not right. Okay, if you watched this so far, thank you so much. This means a whole lot to me. Please take some time to like the video and subscribe to the channel to spread the word. Thank you so much. Did you guess it correctly? These are longer than the median. These are shorter than the median. Classical is questionable here. You see the upper bound of the confidence interval goes inside the bounds of the confidence intervals for the overall median. So we can't say the difference here is statistically significant. One more thing we could check is if good genres are longer or shorter in track duration than bad genres. Basically, if there's any correlation between these. Can't see it really well. Let's zoom in. The genres that are detrimental to track success are normally shorter in time. And if you remember the previous videos, the tracks should be above 220 to 40 even to be successful. So these are the great genres and they're above the median, just slightly above the median, while the poor genres are below the median. So they tend to be shorter, while the good genres tend to be longer in track duration. So far, that's it with this data. If you got any ideas what's next to explore in music, where else I can get some big data, what hypotheses I should test, leave a comment and let me know. And if it's fun enough, I'll research that. And there you have it, the genre analysis. I really hope you've gotten something useful out of this video, or at least had as much fun as I have along the way, because you're awesome. Your track is not gonna be a mess if it is indie progressive. You are.